Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us for the noontime show today. Here in studio, I'd like to welcome my next guest, Vin Marzullo. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Kate.
Running for House District 26 has been a stalwart in the Rhode Island community, a leader heading up the AmeriCorps Vista program and more. Looking ahead at the assembly race, but took a step back this week with GoLocal's reporting of URI and the handling of a sexual assault case there. You've got serious concerns that you say you want to bring to the Rhode Island Board of Governors for Higher Education.
Yeah, Kate, thanks for inviting me in. When I read the article the other day, you know, as a former federal official, it was very disturbing to read how this young woman has been sort of mishandled, mistreated, and that her complaint on an alleged rape case has just seemed to have fallen into a black hole and allowed to be mishandled. And I mean, there's even an appearance that witnesses may have been intimidated or a threat of retaliation by a professor. So it's very disturbing to see what's going on in one of our public institutions.
And to recap for folks, if you haven't seen this, involved a student at URI who reported alleged sexual assault that occurred in the summer of 17. She said she went through the process, had buried it, and then came to light with some things taking place at the university. Her alleged attacker going overseas, a professor involved as well overseeing the program. That then she got communications from friends. Apparently the professor was interjecting herself about the discussions of what was taking place. So
that individual denied her an employment opportunity, which again appears to be a form of discrimination and retaliation. So, I mean, these are very serious charges, and it certainly comes across that URI is either indifferent or very casual and not organized to treat a very serious allegation such as this. So I've reached out to the chair of the Board of Education, Rhode Island Board of Education, and it's my intent to attend their full board meeting next Wednesday at CCRI and raise the concern on this issue. I've also placed a call to the United States Department of Education, to their Civil Rights Office, because your article provides documentation where the communication by the professor certainly borders on intimidation and retaliation. So they need to take a look at how URI may be dealing with that staff member, because URI has to be concerned that they are not maintaining an environment that promotes intimidation and sexual harassment. So the other piece of this that I thought was completely inappropriate and bizarre is that the investigator that URI assigned is an individual that works for their insurance company or their risk management company. So URI is clearly more concerned about their pocketbook and their potential liability than what has occurred or may have occurred with this woman who has filed a complaint. So that process is obviously tainted and not fair and objective. And this delay has really caused injustice. In my mind, justice delayed is justice denied. And this woman needs a fairer shake, if not by the U.S. Attorney's Office, by the Board of Education itself, and perhaps some other parties.
One of the things that she had spoken with me about prior to this last story, which showed that the URI is moving forward with charges against this individual, but then again is at the school level before a panel of the students can or can't participate, was this report by the third party. I think Ms. Conroy's contextualization of it was a master class in victim blaming. She said it was close to 100 pages, but dedicated several pages to the university's attempt, and this is one of the issues that she had raised. This individual had been overseas and apparently communicating with people back in the United States, but her question was, if that's occurring, why isn't this third party getting a hold of this individual? And I think she was chagrined to find in the report pertaining specifically to a sexual assault that there were pages pertaining to the third party's role in information gathering and the efforts that it made as well. She said that that didn't really sit well with her. So does there need to be a review, a comprehensive review of the process at our state colleges and universities?
Most definitely. I think the Rhode Island Board of Education needs to ask the president of URI to do a full examination of how they're complying with Title IX and the requirements of the Violence Against Women's Act. There, you know, it may even warrant for the state attorney general and even the state police to do a review of the matter. But you know, this type of handling where there is no clear understanding of where it's going or a more explicit timetable. And keep in mind, URI allowed this student, after a complaint had been filed, to continue participating in an educational program that they sponsored in a different environment, granted, in a different country. But if that individual is really, in fact, guilty of a crime, of an abuse, that individual is in another environment where it can happen again. So the safeguards are certainly in question as to how people are protected and how rights are respected.
And one other thing, I have the information here because, Vin, you and I both talked about it, and it's actually the reason why Ms. Conroy reached out to GoLocal on this particular matter. It had to do with the numbers that all colleges, private and public, have to report to the U.S. Department of Education under the Clery Act pertaining to sexual assaults reported on campus. Now, again, this was, I believe, the 2015 calendar year, and at URI was 13 assaults reported. Brown University, 41. GoLocal had written a piece as to were there really close to 4 times the amount of sexual assaults at Brown, or was there an issue with sexual assault reporting and the culture on campus? Ms. Conroy contacted GoLocal and said, I saw this article. This is exactly why I did not have faith in the process, why people don't come forward, because this exact thing is happening to me right now.
That number for URI is certainly an alarming number. 13 were reported, but as you know, there are 3,000 to 5,000 students who are living off campus, and if there's a rape or a sexual assault off campus, that incident may not be reflected in these numbers. So we're not even sure how URI is doing its reporting to the United States Department of Labor. And people, be it students or faculty, need to know that they're safe at these public institutions, and that the officials that have a responsibility in carrying out their duty are, in fact, doing that. So I'm kind of troubled by all of this, and as a former federal official who had responsibility to ensure compliance for this sort of thing, I'd like to see justice and the law observed and individuals protected.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time from your perspective and your leadership role moving forward on this. Vin Marzullo, thank you for coming into the studio.
Thank you so much.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to get a little more local here in Providence, here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center.